So this video is about properties. Now, memorizing the properties in and of themselves is not so useful, but you use them all the time. And by understanding them, it kind of helps you to understand what's a legal move, something you can do in math, and something that you can't do in math. So use this from the standpoint that it helps you to simplify your work, and that's a good starting point. So, for example, look at these numbers, 3, 1, 17, 3, 17, 1. So here what's happened is the numbers have moved. And if you've learned about like your parents might commute to work, this is the commutative property, okay? So the numbers move, 3, 1, 17, 3, 17, 1. So there's been numbers moving. You can use, this is the commutative property of addition. You use it when there's all addition. So if we look at it, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 17 is 21. Here, 3 plus 17 is 20, plus 1, 21. So you're going to get the same answer. So once again, it's a legal move. It doesn't change the work. But why you would want to do it is that adding 3 plus 17, 20, that's a lot easier to deal with than like 4 plus 17. So the reason we have these properties is that it helps you to make your mental math a little bit simpler. So we also have a commutative property of multiplication. And once again, commute means the numbers are moving. And in this case, it's all multiplication. So 5 times, and so you look at the numbers, 5, 9, 2, 9, 5, 2. So it's the exact same numbers, but the order has switched. So 5 times 9 is 45 times 2, which is 90. And 9 times 5, 45 times 2, 90. Okay, so you're going to get the same answer. What doesn't work, for example, is if there was any division in there. So if we had like 4 divided by, well, let's make this 12, sorry. Let's say we had 12 divided by 3 times 4. We can't start switching these numbers around if there's a mix of division and multiplication. You won't end up with the same number. So associative property. Now, maybe your parents, you might have heard the expression like, oh, I don't like who you associate with. So like who you hang out with. So associate is kind of like who your group is, who your buddies are, and the way that we get groups here is by parentheses. So when you're looking for a problem to see if it's associative property, all the numbers are in the same order, okay? So if we look at this, so kind of follow along, 17, 26, 24, 17, 26, 24. So the numbers did not move. They're in the exact same order. But what did move is the order in which we're going to do them, okay? So we've regrouped them. We've associated them differently. So 17 plus 26 is 43 plus 24. Okay, so we get 67. And then over here, we're going to go 17 plus, and I'm going to do this part in the parentheses first. 26 plus 24 is 50. And it's a lot easier to add 17 plus 50 than it was to do this math. So once again, with these properties, you're going to get the same answer. That's why they're kind of like what we call like legal moves. Okay, so the things you can do mathematically, but they just help you to simplify and justify your stuff. So there's also an associative property of multiplication. So once again, it's who you hang out with, and it's all multiplication. So once again, numbers don't move. The numbers are in the same order, but the parentheses move. So let's looking at it, 13, 4, 5, 13, 4, 5. So the numbers are exactly where they were in the beginning, but the parentheses have regrouped or associated differently. So 13 times 4 is 42 times 5. So 40 times 5 is 200. This is 210 versus 13 times 20. I am really tired right now. My brain's not working so well. 13 times 20, 26. Oopsie, see, I didn't even do the math right. So that's why we use the associative property. Perfect example there, because the answers should be exactly the same, and they're not. This is 262. Yeah, okay, so we're brain dead right now. But, oh, that's 52, that's why. Okay. So, hence the reason we do the associative property. Point made. Distributive property. So the number is outside of a parenthesis. So here we have like 5, and we're multiplying it, and we're going to distribute it through the parenthesis. So now you guys have learned, order of operations. Oh, do the parentheses first. So let's just do the parentheses first. 5 times 1, we get 5. Now another possibility is you could just take this number outside and distribute it through. So 5 times 3, 15. And then 5 times negative 2, okay, or 5 times 2, and then take the negative of it. And so we're going to get the same answer. So once again, these are legal moves. You're going to get the same thing. If you see just a minus outside, this is the equivalent of like negative 1. So negative 1 times 3, negative 3, negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1, and then simplifying later, negative 2. Now, where the distributive property is really going to make a difference is when you get into algebra. And there's things like 3 times x plus 2. And, in terms of the order of operations, you literally can't add those together. Okay, you can't add x plus 2. So you have to get, to kind of simplify this, you have to get rid of the parentheses by using the distributive property. So you don't have a choice in this matter. So 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 2 is 6. And that would be in simplest form. So once again, the properties really are a way to help you justify your thinking. It's good to know the names of them, but it's not really an exercise in just memorizing, what's what. But once again, commutative, numbers move, either all addition, commutative property addition, or numbers move and all multiplication, commutative property multiplication. Associative property, once again, who are you hanging out with? Numbers are in the same order, but the parentheses move, and then that helps you to kind of like add things that are going to be a little easier. So like 50 is a lot easier than like 43 plus 24. And then the distributive property, a number outside of the parentheses, and then multiplying it through the parentheses. And be also careful to take the sign if there's a sign outside of that. Okay, so